the United States are like the the Kings.
Yeah.
Maybe not that.
They got a cuff now.
But the reality of the situation is the best player on the U.S. team wouldn't be the best player on most of the other really good teams, and that's why we're not as good as those other teams. Because Pulisic's the best player on our team, but I don't know what he would be on Belgium. Would he be the best player on Belgium's team? I don't think I'm qualified to answer that. But just watching last night, I would have to say no. But I get it.
They were on one,
it's
man.
It's just one game. Let's go to Gabriel. Gabriel's in Fremont. Hey, Gabe, how you doing, man?
How you doing, guys?
Hey.
Do well.
I played soccer for, 20 years of my life, and I can say that the U.S. development system is just whack. There's no way for us to even compete with these top European nations if we're going to continue to be pay to play. I also played basketball, lacrosse, all these other things, and they're just different when we play against guys in different cities and stuff. So when it comes down to development, we just don't have it, and there's no chance. And then especially for the U.S. team, comparing Christian Pulisic, that was a great point. It's like you have like a bunch of Quinn Cooks on one team. Like he'd be good on a G, like he'd be the greatest guy on the G League team. But you put him in the real NBA, it's not really comparable. And that's what the big leagues are, and in major nations in Europe and all that other stuff. So there's no chance of competition if you're gonna continue to force kids to pay to even access great coaching or decent coaching at that while you're in the United States. So that's really it. Like it comes down to development and ability and socioeconomic stuff to be allowed to play. So appreciate you guys.
No, I appreciate you, Gabriel.
Man.
And
now it's above my pay grade there because I don't know, but I'm sure Dibbs and the Rick Tittles know better than I, but there's got to be more than something there, right?
So the last caller used the phrase pay to play. And clearly what that means is, let's say you're a kid in the United States and you're 8 years old and you want to play soccer. Well, the first thing you got to do is pony up a lot of money to get on a travel team, for the equipment, for the fields, for the tournaments, for the travel, all that kind of stuff. So if you start with the premise that in order to get involved in soccer, you need money, well then the pool of players that you're developing from is an absolutely small portion of all the people who are young kids who want to play soccer. So the only kids who are playing soccer in the United States are the kids who can afford to pay for it at a young age and have parents push them in that direction. And that's great. The problem is that what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that on balance, we just don't have enough players playing soccer at a young age so that more of the cream can rise to the top.
Yeah.
You need money to play. And in other countries, clearly you don't need the money to play, and they have a bigger group of talent to pick from.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Now you got me thinking about just my own kids, Donovan, Daryl, and Milan, just growing up. Stoney, their first taste of sports was soccer. All three of them. It was soccer, and it's kind of just, it's a mainstay here in the United States. You see the little kids, they go out and play. They're part of a team. It's soccer, but then I feel like reality sets in to where, okay, I'll go do baseball, basketball, or football, and soccer I was introduced to it, but I'm not serious about it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have cost you a lot of money if your kids would have stayed involved in soccer and gotten on to travel teams and all that. I mean, my daughters played club soccer till they were in 10th, 11th grade. It was not cheap, and they weren't elite players. It was competitive, but it was definitely not elite. But yet they had we had to fork over a lot of money for that. There's something else, and this is definitely a what's the word? A perception that may not be based in reality. But we used to be tougher. We did.
Now, when you say
our athletes used to be tougher, they used to be tougher.
Well, the world used to be tougher.
Well, we're getting our ass kicked in soccer. I'm just saying, I'm watching last night's game.
We're getting our ass kicked in hoop too, if you want to keep it real. But go ahead.
Well, exactly. Why is that? Why is that happening? Because of the AAU culture.
Didn't the USA just win the gold in hockey?
Well, I was just talking about basketball.
I mean, they seem pretty tough.
Well, it's hockey. That's an outlier. Hockey's definitely an outlier. No, I think we have a toughness problem. I just do. Like, the kids who are playing soccer come from good families. They do.
I'm sure, to Evan's point, the hockey ones too.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe
They
it
beat
doesn't
Canada, who
work.
invented the sport, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking about a long track record of what's going on with U.S. soccer, and I'm trying to figure out why we're like no factor.
See, I'm questioning now so when Evan brought up the hockey, then maybe we are getting the best hockey players, to come participate. I'm just wondering, are we making the most of what you kind of just talked about? Maybe not, and I don't know, how to judge this, Donnie, but I'm starting to feel like, what are we working with? Are we working with the LeBrons and the Currys of soccer? Or are we working with our versions of that participate in the sport? Because there is some, I don't want to say lack of participation from all, but it feels like a short pool.
Well, I mean, dude, why are the U.S. women dominant and the U.S. men aren't dominant? Is it only because of history? And what I mean by that is soccer's been around for the men in other countries for a longer period of time. In other words, the women had more of a fair start with other countries, women's players, because for a while there was no women's soccer. So when women's soccer in the U.S., started establishing themselves, they were on more of a level playing field than the U.S. men are now, battling a long period of history where they haven't, been competitive, but the rest of the world has been. Leroy's in Oakland.
Lee.
What's up, Leroy? How you doing?
What's up, Steiny? What's up, Goo?
You got it.
Happy Tuesday. Can I just say this real quick? I looked at my wife during the game, and I said, baby, everything that Donald Trump touches turns into a pumpkin. And I was just like, this juju. I was like, look. I was like, they didn't even look like the same team. And Goo, how many times have we seen this happen in sports, Steiny, where someone is not going to play? They get ejected. They can't play the next game. And then they get reinstated for some reason, and it throws off the whole mojo. It happens all the time. When is a coach going to say, hey, we're rolling? And even though he's reinstated, we're sticking with what we got. It never happens in sports. Soon as the guy is available, they stick him back in, and more times than not, it ends up being a bad omen. And I was just like, wow, we were rolling. And I just want to say this real quick. I'm a new soccer fan. And I'm going to tell you what. Everybody want to be down on the USA, but you know what they did? They got me into it. I am going to watch the rest of the World Cup because of the USA. I'm going to watch the games today. I'm going to keep watching. They got me into it, and I'm even going to take a look at some of our local teams after the World Cup is over. But, man, I hated soccer. I did. I hated soccer, and now I'm getting into it, and I want to just thank the USA for that. Everybody's down on them, and I understand, but I want to thank them because they got me into it. I went to a first watch party, and it was great. So, but, yeah, I just thought that once they reinstated him, the mojo was gone. It was different. So you guys have a great day.
You too, Lee.
Hey, anybody remember what was the theme of the Warriors season this year, to the point where Steve Kerr must have mentioned it about 6 times, that he hated this past year when the other team was missing its star because they lost all those games.
Right.
Because there was kind of a little bit of a letdown. I know it's a little bit different because the U.S. got the player, but maybe they had a little bit of a letdown when they knew Balogun was going to play.
Yeah, but with that, yeah, the score was the score, but the bottom line is anybody watching that could tell one team was better than the other. And Belgium was faster, quicker, and just looked like they knew what they were doing and connected more so than Stein. We looked like we were fumbling, bumbling type of stuff. Like a couple of the goals were like, oh my God, did that really happen? Like goofy.
Yeah, I mean, like the one thing that I have definitely, and I don't know, you can jump in here if you think, like I'm kind of was with Leroy. You know, I've watched a ton of soccer games, and, sometimes I'm saying I wish there was more action.
Oh, man.
But in this World Cup, I think I really have gotten an appreciation for, if you watch a whole game, there are these ebbs and flows where if you're not really into it, you might think that it's not very exciting, but like the ebbs and flows are part of the game, and then 6 or 8 times a game, there's going to be like moments of crescendo that are just really incredible and exciting. And I think I've gotten more of an appreciation for just kind of the flow of a game and how that impacts a whole game rather than, well, they're just kicking a ball around for 20 minutes and nothing's happening. Well, there is stuff happening. Momentum's being built and teams are, gaining, space on the field and pushing the ball up the field.
It's art for sure.
So I've definitely gotten a little bit of an appreciation for that at this point.
Yeah. And now I'm just yearning for, you could say I'm being selfish real quick here, Stoney. I'm yearning for the American version of Messi. Who's that guy going to be?
Well, I don't know if you'll ever live to see it.